If you're over 60 and you've been feeling weaker lately, if standing up from your favorite chair takes just a little more effort than it used to, or if you've noticed that carrying groceries from the car leaves you more tired than it should, I need you to listen very carefully to what I'm about to share with you. Because what most doctors won't tell you is that the weakness you're experiencing isn't just normal aging. It's something specific, something that has a name, and more importantly, something you can actually do something about. Now, I know what you're thinking. You've probably heard 1,000 times that getting older means getting weaker, that it's just part of life, and that there's nothing you can do except accept it. But researchers at major universities across the country have been studying this exact problem for decades, and what they've discovered is going to change the way you think about aging. A recent comprehensive study published by the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition followed thousands of adults over 65 and found something remarkable. Is adding new something to your coffee to stop muscle loss and fight sarcopenia fast? The muscle loss that so many of us experience isn't inevitable at all. In fact, with the right approach, adults well into their 70s and 80s were able to not just slow down muscle loss, but actually reverse it. I understand if you're skeptical right now. You've probably tried things before that promised results and didn't deliver. Maybe you felt dismissed by doctors who just told you to exercise more without really explaining how or why. Maybe you've watched your own strength decline year after year and started to believe that this is just your new reality. But here's what I want you to know. The science on this is clear, and the solution is simpler than you might think. In fact, it involves something you probably already do every single morning. By the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why your muscles are changing, what's happening inside your body at the cellular level, and most importantly, what you can do about it starting today. You won't need expensive equipment, you won't need to completely overhaul your life, and you won't need to spend hours at a gym. What you will need is about 10 minutes of your time right now to understand something that could genuinely change the next chapter of your life. Let me start by explaining what's actually happening inside your body after 60. Your muscles aren't just getting smaller because you're less active, although activity does matter. What's happening is much more specific than that. There's a condition that affects nearly half of all adults over 70, and it's called sarcopenia. Now, don't let that medical term intimidate you. Sarcopenia simply means the gradual loss of muscle mass and strength that happens as we age, but here's the part that most people don't understand. This isn't a gentle, slow decline. Research shows that after age 65, if left unaddressed, your body can lose anywhere from 3 to 8% of your muscle mass every single decade. And it's not just about looking different in the mirror. This loss of muscle has real consequences. Think about it this way. Your muscles are like the engine in your car. When the engine starts to lose power, everything becomes harder. The car struggles to accelerate. It takes longer to respond when you need it to, and eventually it becomes unreliable. Your muscles work the same way. They're not just for lifting heavy things or running marathons. They're essential for every single movement you make throughout your day. Getting out of bed in the morning, walking to the mailbox, catching yourself if you stumble. All of these everyday activities require muscle strength, and when that strength declines, your entire quality of life changes with it. Now, here's where it gets really important. Major research institutions have found that muscle loss in older adults is directly connected to something much more serious than just feeling tired. Studies have shown that seniors with lower muscle mass have significantly higher rates of falls, longer hospital stays when they do get sick, and a much harder time recovering from injuries or illnesses. One comprehensive study that tracked older adults for 5 years found that those with the lowest muscle mass had nearly double the mortality rate compared to those who maintained their muscle strength. I'm not sharing this to scare you. I'm sharing it because understanding what's at stake makes the solution that much more important. So why does this happen? Why do our muscles seem to just give up after a certain age? Well, it turns out there are several factors at play, and understanding them is the first step to fighting back. As we age, our bodies become less efficient at building building new muscle tissue. When you're younger, your muscles respond quickly to protein and activity. They rebuild and repair themselves almost effortlessly. But after 60, something changes at the cellular level. Your muscle cells become what scientists call resistant. They don't respond to the same signals as strongly as they used to. It's like they've become harder of hearing. You can send the message to build muscle, but the message doesn't get through as clearly as it once did. At the same time, your body starts breaking down existing muscle tissue more quickly than it builds new tissue. So you've got this double problem. On one side, you're not building muscle as effectively. On the other side, you're losing the muscle you already have at a faster rate. It's like trying to fill a bathtub while the drain is open. No matter how much water you add, you're fighting an uphill battle. And if you don't address both sides of this equation, the decline continues year after year.
Now, there's another factor that most people overlook, and it has to do with something called muscle protein synthesis. Stay with me here because this is where things get interesting. Every time you eat protein, your body breaks it down into smaller building blocks called amino acids. These amino acids are like the raw materials your body uses to build and repair muscle tissue. But here's the catch. Not all amino acids are created equal. There are 9 amino acids that your body cannot make on its own. You have to get them from food. And among those 9, there's one that acts as the master switch for muscle building. Without enough of this particular amino acid, your muscles simply cannot grow or even maintain themselves, no matter how much protein you're eating overall. Young adults need about 1 to 2 grams of this master amino acid to trigger muscle building, but research has shown that adults over 65 need significantly more, sometimes 3 to 4 grams to achieve the same muscle building effect. This increased requirement is one of the main reasons why older adults lose muscle even when they think they're eating enough protein. Their bodies have a higher threshold that needs to be met, and most people have no idea this threshold even exists. This is what researchers call anabolic resistance, and it's a game changer when you understand how to work around it. Now, you might be wondering what that supplement was. I'm going to tell you, but first I want to make sure you understand the full picture, because there are actually 3 different approaches that research supports, and they work in different ways. Some provide the raw building blocks your muscles need, others give your muscles the energy to function properly, and one in particular acts as that master switch I mentioned. The key is understanding how each one works so you can make an informed decision about what might help you most. Let me start with the foundation. Your muscles aren't just made of protein, they're also held together by a structural framework, kind of like the steel beams in a building. This structure is made primarily of a protein called collagen. Now, you've probably heard of collagen in relation to skin or joints, but it's absolutely crucial for muscle health too. Collagen provides the scaffolding that keeps your muscle fibers organized and functional. As we age, our bodies produce less and less collagen naturally. By the time you're 65, you might be producing 30 to 40% less than you did when you were 30. And when that scaffolding weakens, your muscles become more fragile, more prone to injury, and less capable of generating force. Research published in a major nutrition journal studied older adults who supplemented with collagen peptides. These are small, easily absorbed pieces of collagen protein. The participants took about 15 grams daily while doing light resistance exercises. Nothing intense, just simple movements with resistance bands. After 12 weeks, the group taking collagen showed an average increase of over 9% in lean muscle mass. That might not sound like a huge number, but remember, these were people who were otherwise losing muscle year after year. Not only did they stop the decline, they reversed it. The beauty of collagen is that it's incredibly easy to use. You can add it to your morning coffee, and the heat actually helps your body absorb it more effectively. The key is choosing the right type. You want hydrolyzed collagen peptides, which means they've been broken down into smaller pieces that your digestive system can handle easily. And you want to look for what's called type 1 and type 3 collagen, which specifically support muscle tissue. Many people make the mistake of buying cheap collagen that contains fillers or artificial sweeteners, which can actually cause digestive problems and reduce absorption. A pure, unflavored, grass-fed collagen powder is what you're looking for. Now, here's an important detail about timing. The best time to take collagen is first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, mixed into hot coffee or tea. This allows your body to absorb it before your digestive system is busy processing other foods. And here's something most people don't know. If you mix collagen with dairy milk, the calcium in the milk can actually interfere with absorption. So if you drink your coffee with milk, either skip the milk when you're taking collagen or use a non-dairy alternative.
That's the foundation. Collagen provides the structural support your muscles need. But there's another piece of the puzzle that has to do with energy. Your muscles need fuel to contract and move, and that fuel comes from a molecule called ATP. Think of ATP like the battery in your phone. When the battery is full, your phone works perfectly. When it runs low, everything slows down. Your muscles work the same way. They need a constant supply of ATP to function, and when that supply runs low, you feel weak and tired. Here's where it gets interesting. Your body stores a backup battery system in your muscles called phosphocreatine. When your muscles need a quick burst of energy, they tap into this phosphocreatine to rapidly regenerate ATP. It's like having a portable charger for your phone. But as we age, our natural stores of phosphocreatine drop significantly. This means older adults have less energy reserve in their muscles, which leads to faster fatigue and reduced strength. Researchers have known for decades that supplementing with creatine can replenish these stores, but only recently have they studied how effective it is specifically for older adults. A comprehensive analysis that looked at data from 18 different research studies found something remarkable. Older adults who supplemented with creatine showed significant improvements in upper body strength and increases in lower body muscle mass, even without doing intensive exercise. These were people between 65 and 85 years old, doing normal daily activities, maybe some light walking or gentle resistance work. The creatine gave their muscles the energy reserves they needed to function better and respond more effectively to even minimal activity. Now, if you're thinking creatine sounds like something only bodybuilders use, I understand that hesitation. But the research is clear. Creatine monohydrate is one of the most studied supplements in all of nutritional science, and it's been shown to be both safe and effective for older adults when used properly. The key is starting with a small dose and being consistent. About 3 to 5 grams per day is all you need. You can mix it directly into your morning coffee, and the caffeine actually helps your muscles absorb it more effectively. The combination creates a synergy where the coffee increases blood flow to your muscles, delivering the creatine right where it needs to go. If this is helping you understand what's happening in your body and what you can do about it, I want to invite you to subscribe to this channel. I share research-backed health information every single week, specifically designed for people over 60 who want to stay strong, independent, and active. You'll find practical advice that's based on real science, not just trends or fads. Just click that subscribe button so you don't miss future videos. One important note about creatine: when you first start taking it, you might notice a slight increase in water weight. This isn't fat, and it's not a bad thing. Creatine works partly by pulling water into your muscle cells, which actually helps them function better and appear fuller. Some people experience this in the first week or two, and then it stabilizes. The key is to drink plenty of water throughout the day to support your kidneys and help your body process the creatine effectively. If you have any kidney issues, you should definitely talk to your doctor before starting creatine. But for healthy older adults, research has consistently shown it to be safe when used at recommended doses. Now, let me tell you about something that's even more powerful than either collagen or creatine alone. Remember earlier when I mentioned that master switch amino acid, the one that triggers your muscles to actually build new tissue? That amino acid is called leucine, and understanding how it works could be the single most important thing you learn today. Leucine is different from other amino acids because it doesn't just provide building blocks for muscle, it actually signals your cells to start the muscle building process. It's like the foreman on a construction site. You can have all the lumber and nails you need, but without the foreman giving the order to start building, nothing happens. Your body has a cellular pathway called mTOR. Don't worry about the technical name. What matters is that this pathway controls muscle growth. When leucine levels in your blood reach a certain threshold,
threshold, it activates this mTOR pathway like flipping a switch. Once that switch is flipped, your cells get the message to start building muscle protein. The problem is, as we age, that threshold gets higher. Young adults can flip the switch with relatively small amounts of leucine, but older adults need significantly more to achieve the same effect. This is that anabolic resistance we talked about earlier. Research from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition studied older adults who supplemented specifically with leucine and found that it increased their muscle protein synthesis rates by over 50% compared to those who didn't supplement. That's a massive difference. It means their muscles were building new tissue at half again the rate of the control group. This isn't about getting bigger muscles like a bodybuilder. This is about rebuilding and maintaining the muscle you need to live independently, to move without pain, to prevent falls, and to enjoy your life. The protocol for using leucine is very specific, and this is where most people make mistakes. You need about 3 to 4 grams of pure leucine to reach that threshold we talked about, and timing matters tremendously. The most effective time to take leucine is first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. This creates the highest spike in leucine blood levels, which is exactly what you need to overcome that age-related resistance. If you take it with a full meal, the other nutrients dilute its effect and you don't get the same signal strength.
Here's how to do it. When you wake up, before you eat anything, mix 3 to 4 grams of leucine powder into your coffee. Leucine has a slightly bitter taste that actually complements coffee's natural bitterness quite well. Stir it thoroughly for about 45 seconds because leucine tends to float at first. Then drink it within about 5 minutes. After that, wait at least 30 minutes before eating breakfast. This gives the leucine time to be absorbed and create that peak signal your muscles need.
Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. This sounds complicated. Multiple supplements, specific timing, exact doses. But here's the thing. You don't have to do all of this at once. In fact, it's often better to start simple and add complexity as you go. You could start with just collagen for the first month, adding it to your morning coffee and seeing how your body responds. Then, after you've established that habit, you could add creatine in month 2. And finally, if you want the maximum effect, you could incorporate leucine in month 3. The reason this staged approach works so well is that it allows your body to adapt gradually, and it lets you notice which interventions are making the biggest difference for you personally. Some people respond incredibly well to just collagen. Others find that creatine gives them the energy boost they needed. And some discover that leucine is the missing piece that finally allows your muscles to rebuild. Everyone's body is slightly different, so paying attention to your own response is important. Which part of what I've shared so far feels most relevant to your situation? Have you noticed weakness in your legs, or is it more in your upper body? Are you more concerned about energy and fatigue, or actual muscle loss? Let me know in the comments, because understanding where you're starting from can help guide which approach might work best for you. Every day you maintain or build muscle is a day you're investing in your future independence, your ability to do the things you love, and your overall quality of life. The choice of whether to address this is yours, but at least now it's an informed choice based on real science, not just acceptance of what seems inevitable. Before we finish, I want to point you toward another video that builds on what we've discussed today. Click the video on your screen to learn about the most common mistakes that actually accelerate aging after 60. These are things that seem harmless but can undermine all the good work you're doing. It's critical information that every person over 60 should understand. Remember, decline is not inevitable. Weakness is not guaranteed. With the right knowledge and the right action, you have more control over how you age than you might have thought possible. Your body is still capable of remarkable things. It just needs your support. Give it that support, stay consistent, and pay attention to how your body responds. The next chapter of your life can be stronger, more active, and more independent than you might have imagined. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video about eat this on empty stomach or your muscles will keep disappearing.